So Justin, how'd you get into martial arts originally?
It's honestly, it's something, I always wanted to do my entire life. Like ever since I fucking woke up on a Saturday morning and watched Three Ninjas for the first time.
Dude.
Dude, my first sentence was "Go Power Ranger." Like it's always been such a giant fascination to me.
Which one was your favorite?
Oh, Rocky, of course.
Yeah.
What do you mean? So it was always a giant obsession and fascination of mine through my whole life. And I mean, I don't know if you guys listened to the podcast I did with Arion, and I haven't really talked about it like publicly much. Guys that I train with and stuff know, but since I was 8 years old, I've been dealing with reoccurring inner ear tumors called a cholesteatoma. And it basically gives me debilitating vertigo. I get super sick and vomit. A lot of it is brought on by like an extended heart rate. So from 8 until 19, I had 2 surgeries a year, every year. One to scope out the tumor, one to like essentially what they do, it would go in and check to make sure that they got everything. And then they would have to resurface my ear canal or put in artificial hearing bone. Yeah. So I basically got like 1 season a year to play sports, when the rest of the year I was like recover. Like couldn't have heart rate over, 150 or anything for more than 5 minutes, like all kinds of stuff. Cause I had stitches in my ear, and I didn't know this until I was older, but I guess the way your blood pressure is regulated in your head is different than the rest of your body. Right.
I didn't know.
Me neither. But if you have, that's how your face gets really red when you're working out or,
Yeah.
Right.
Mine does. I get
Sure.
tomato face. Bad. My face is the color of your shirt.
But a lot of it is your blood pressure rising, right?
Okay.
Or, your blood circulating, not so much your blood pressure, but it would cause the stitches to burst, give me vertigo, cause me to pass out, cause me to be sick, all kinds of shit. And so when I finally got, on my own, I'm like, I think I'm going to give this a try. And I was always too scared. And my best friend, Brian, he's a black belt under Zach Cummings now. He lives out in Kansas City. He started training under Jermaine Andre. I don't know if Jermaine is. That's a guy in this community who gets overshadowed a lot because he's a wild character. He's a real OG. You talk to Mike Rogers, you talk to Steve Berger, they'll tell you, yeah, Jermaine's crazy as hell. I mean, he's a legend. Like as far as like early MMA and guys in the area, someone you guys should talk to. He's got insane stories. But Brian was training under Jermaine and, moved to Kansas City and started training under Zach and was getting ready for his first MMA fight. And I went out there and basically, I was watching him get ready and stuff. And Zach came up, hey man, what you doing? Watching Brian train, get ready. He's like, yeah, there's class going on. Like, yeah, I know. He's like, well, Brian told me you want to do jiu-jitsu. Go do jiu-jitsu. Just kind of like put my feet to the fire. And I'm like, okay. I was like, all right, well, I don't have a gi. He's like, yeah, I got one. Everything I had. He's like, yeah, go ahead. And then so I would do jiu-jitsu, kind of sporadically when I'd come to town. And I told the guys, like, oh yeah, I'm training back home.
Yeah.
Bro, like I was just too nervous. Like, dude, I went to St. Charles MMA 4 times and sat in the parking lot 10 minutes early. Like, all right, I'm going to go in. I'm going to talk to someone, watch people walk in, stayed there long enough, watch them the same people walk out. Just could not
get up to do it.
Could not get up to fucking do it.
It's terrible.
Now, was that more because of what was going on with the ear, or is it just more?
It was more me, like my ego, like, oh, what if I get beat up? What if someone tries to hurt me? What if they don't like me? What if it's too hard? Am I going to be a bitch? Like, all these things. And, I'm 22 years old at the time, 22. And so then I go to Kansas City, and mind you, all this is after like the worst fucking breakup I've ever had in my life too. And
aren't they all at that age?
For sure. Sure. We would live together, all kinds of shit. And Brian was like, look, man, I'm tired of hearing about your shit. You fucking need jiu-jitsu. You just need jiu-jitsu. He was like, I'm buying you a gi. All right, whatever. I didn't think nothing about it. And I go home, and a couple days later, I get home from work, and there's a fucking gi sitting on my porch. A blue King's gi in a bag.
With a white belt.
Yep. And I fucking went to one class.
St. Charles MMA.
Yep. Finally went inside. Matt Rice's house was teaching, and I talked to him, and I was like, you know, I don't know if I want to try the class today, but I'm okay to sit and watch. And he's like, yeah, man, you do whatever you want. You'll probably get a better idea if you want to do the class, or what you want to do if you do the class. So I was like, still too nervous, you know.
Sure.
Sat there, watched the whole class, and all right, bet I'm in. I could do this. Go to the gym the next day. All right, I'm getting back in shape. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do jiu-jitsu. Fucking put 225 on the squat rack. Tear my fucking hip. Not completely, thank God.
Oh, that sounds awful.
It was horrendous. It's horrendous, especially because I didn't have great insurance either. And so it was basically just like, yeah, figure it the fuck out. So my hip still clicks like horrendously.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But so I went out to Kansas City, and Zach was like, hey man, so you doing jiu-jitsu? Like, I'm like, yeah, well, I've been in a couple times. Brian got me the gi and I hurt my leg. And he's like, look, go to St. Charles MMA. Tell him I sent you. Zach used to do like all of his training camps there when he's in college and stuff. And he's like, go there. Tell Mike Rogers you know me and that I sent you. And he goes, don't come back here. You don't. Basically like, hey man,
yeah,
I love you, but quit fucking around.
Yeah, do it or don't.
Yeah. And
Shit
so
or get off the pot.
Right. And so I went out. Finally, I talked to Mike, and I signed me and my daughter up in the same day. So I'm like, all right, I need accountability buddy.
Yeah.
So she did jujitsu, and I was like still too nervous to do jujitsu. I think I was like, looking back on it, I was just afraid to lose more than anything. So I was like, I only did kickboxing for like 2 months, maybe 3 months when I first started there. Because it was like, oh, this is my excuse. It's the same time as the kids' jujitsu class,
Yeah.
So my daughter's over there, I'm over here. And then, one day I seen that they were kind of down coaches. And I was like, I asked the coach, like, hey, I don't know anything, but like, if you need someone to like tell kids to go point and stand, like, just let me know. And Tracy was like, Tracy Taylor, he's like, hey man, I really appreciate it, but I can't have a coach out here who doesn't know jujitsu. He's like, but your daughter's doing good, so you can't let her know more jujitsu than you.
Good. That's a good point.
Yeah. And he's like, why don't you come to my class Sunday? He was like, we start at 9, we go till about noon.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, he called it Sunday school. He's like, it's all the dads. He's like, we're not out here trying to kill each other. He's like, we're going to come here. You're going to talk about jiu-jitsu. You're going to learn about life and how these things relate to each other. He's like, all the other stuff like that, comes along with this place, you'll find it. And he's like, just come to this class. Okay. And so for like maybe 2 or 3 Sundays in a row, I went to his class. I'm like, all right, I think I really need to fucking give this a try. And so I completely stopped doing all striking classes, did all jiu-jitsu, nothing else. And then about 7 months later, I quit my job.
And you really could train jiu-jitsu.
Well, I was living so far below my means to what I was making at the time. Like all in, dude, my bills were like $1,100 a month.
Oh wow.
I had fucking nothing. I had the cheapest apartment I could find in Wentzville. I had a fucking cell phone bill. I had no car payment. So I saved up enough money to live and pay like all of my bills plus live for like 3 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
So it's like, all right, I'm gonna fucking take this. Like, I really fucking love this. Like, we have some cool stuff going on. I got this new like community at the gym that I feel like I'm really a part of now, because like once I got over my own ego, like, I mean, how just being a part of any team, right?
Yeah.
Being a part of any team, like, especially if you've been an athlete your whole life, is the best part of your fucking day.
It's the best part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the best part of the day. I mean, you playing baseball your whole life. Like, the game's fun, dude. Being in the dugout with the boys.
Yeah, locker room.
Yeah, locker room,
yeah.
dugout,
So fun.
fucking everything, man. Like, that's where some of the best times I've ever had in my life are.
Just bullshitting in the locker room after a hard jiu-jitsu class. Like, I've never laughed harder sometimes than
I say it all the
giving
time.
each other shit.
The most important thing to the success of a jiu-jitsu academy is how much time you see the guys spending on the mats after class is over. How many guys are lined up on the wall like this?
And chatting
And just
fucking
chatting.
giving each other shit.
Yep.
And like, dude, some of my favorite conversations and best times I've ever had have been like when I'm completely drenched in sweat, propped up against the wall, sitting there talking to my boys, or even a guy that I don't know that well, but like, man, I've really got to know this guy today because
Yeah.
like I got to fucking see him in
Yeah.
his most vulnerable point, you know, where he's got a guy on top of him choking him in like, you know, it's like he doesn't get more real than that.
Right. Right.
And it's awesome.
And so, I have this like new community that I'm like, in reality, it's like all I ever wanted was to be a part of a team that I loved, that I felt valued in, and that, was something that I actually loved. It wasn't like I was enamored by this new shiny toy. It's like, no, this is something I've wanted to do since I was fucking 8 years old. I was just never allowed to. And now it's like, this is everything I thought it was going to be and more. And now I'm an adult and I can like, oh shit, I can maybe make like a lane for myself in this to where this could be my life, because I was selling produce and I fucking wanted to blow my brains out. I was on the road like 16 days out of the month sometimes. And, in Mount Olive, Mississippi and fucking, weird backwoods places in Louisiana. And,
that time away from your daughter, I'm sure that's
exactly.
Yeah.
And, my dad, he still to this day is gone like 40, 45 weeks out of the year for work, whether
oh wow.
that doesn't include his vacation time.
What does he do?
So now he's the VP of sales for a company called Green Gate Fresh out of Salinas, California. So I started working in produce for one of his buddies selling fucking sliced apples and bagged grapes to prisons, school districts, restaurants with their kids' menus and shit. And that was it. And then like about a year and a half in, my dad and a couple of his buddies started a brokerage group that absorbed the company that I was working for. And I ended up working for my fucking dad for like 2 years. And that was even worse. That was the worst part of all of it. It was like, because now I'm my dad's kid, so I'm held to a higher standard, but I'm also my dad's kid. It's like, hey, you're 22 years old. I'm not going to pay you the same as I'm paying everyone else. You gotta earn your keep around here, boy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it taught me to grind.
Sure.
Look, at the time it was fucking miserable. Looking back at it, 31, I can say like that set me up so much further than I imagined it would have, just in the understanding of business at a, even a macro sense, right? Like knowing how to operate where I could with hand wraps and where I should go, yada, yada, yada. But I just could not see myself getting stuck in that cycle. Because I remember calling my dad, hey, Pop, you going to come to my game today? Nope, not going to be home. And then the first time my daughter called me and was like, hey, Dad, are you coming to my soccer practice tonight? I'm like, man, I'm in fucking Nebraska, and she's crying, doesn't understand. And it's like,
breaks your heart.
Yeah,
what? And because I just go right back to that moment myself.
Yeah, because you saw yourself there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was
I felt that before.
all the time. It's like my dad's on the road. My mom's a real estate agent, so she's working, at all crazy hours, So it's like, I didn't want her to feel what I felt and miss out on all that stuff, So I'm like, all right, I'm in an opportunity right now. I have all this money saved up. I live super, below my means. I have a few opportunities that I've created on myself, like in, the gym and the community and whatnot. I'm like, I think if I really put everything I have into this, it could be something. I don't know what it is, but it could be something, and it's spawned into infinitely more things than I ever thought I would imagine. Commentary, the matchmaking, fucking hand wraps, like all of it is all because my boy Brian bought me a gi and Zach Cummings told me to stop being a bitch.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
So cool.
That's why it's so important to have good people in your life, man.
Dude, it is. It's
So,
one of the most important.
And so how long have you been doing jiu-jitsu now?
it'll be 8 years in June.
Okay.
Yeah.
What level are you?
I am a 4-stripe blue belt. So
Nice.
I took off
been a blue belt for a hot minute though.
I've been a blue belt for about 5 years. Yeah. So I took off the gi for like 2.5 years completely. Like didn't even really touch it other than like a holiday open mat, a Christmas open mat, or a Thanksgiving or something like that. And a lot of people are still like super traditional in the sense of like, if you don't wear the gi, I can't promote you in a belt. Which it is what it is. Like I don't have any shame showing up to a gym. I've been training 8 years with a 4-stripe belt.
Yeah.
I'm like, we can roll.
Yeah.
You tell me what you think I am. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
the belt doesn't always mean everything. I mean, it really doesn't.
no, because I rolled with black belts when I was a blue belt, and I'm not shit all things considered. But when I was a fresh blue belt, there was black belts that I beat, like guys that were fighting, but it's like, you don't deserve this belt. You don't deserve what this symbolizes, at least, you know. That's why once like I started really seeing that, I'm like, oh, these belts don't matter whatsoever. Why do I need to wear the gi? You know?
I enjoy both.
I'm coming back around to it. I put the gi on more in the last 6 months than I probably have in the last 4 years.
Really?
Yeah. I even bought a new gi.
Where you been training lately?
I've been training a ton at Gracie Amida and at Wolves Den as well, and then mostly at my house. So
Okay.
my basement is fucking a full gym. So
Sweet.
I got a 10 by 10, and then I got all kinds of puzzle mats, and I got a full gym in my garage. So we'll have like 6, 7 guys at the house sometimes. It's just not enough space,
Yeah.
you know, for us to get real crazy. But a lot of time at Wolves Den, mainly at Gracie Amida, but a lot of that's in the gi. So I just train where I can.
Yeah.
So you prefer no gi?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.